Welcome everyone. I'm so privileged to be in your various hearts this evening. This is question and answer. Ask funkeadetuberu. There's so many questions on my table. Like I always say, I have over 400 questions on every program, over that sometimes. And I want you to understand one thing about darkness. If there's no light, you will walk in gross darkness. Light shines and darkness cannot comprehend it. I don't know what part of your life you're walking in darkness, you don't have insight, you don't have understanding. This is another opportunity for you to quickly get into light. Light shines in darkness and darkness cannot comprehend it. If your house is dark and just a spark of matches will illuminate the house for you to get the right light, to get the larger light, as it were. So I welcome you, especially welcome everyone. Welcome. A lot of questions are around here that people are asking, and I want to pin that down because I need to answer this question. Can I say this to everyone at the sound of my voice? If you are privileged to have somebody that is not married around you, please send them a link. Let them listen to this. Life is too short to walk and live as someone that does not know where it's going. You can't be walking in darkness when there's light everywhere. You cannot afford to live your life in such a way that at the end of the day you are now regretting. Do you know that life is half spent before people realize how foolish they had been in the journey of their life? Today I went for an opening of an old people's home. Come and see aged people, and I'm saying, wow, these are the stage in which they wish they had done things better, they wish they had said things better, they wish they had reacted better, they wish they had acted better in the journey of their lives. And I wish they had privilege, opportunity to ask people, how, where, what do I do? How do I go about this? If they have that privilege, I'm sure, and of course they are ready to listen, because it's not everyone that asks questions that is really genuine or wanting to know. Some ask questions to grow, some ask questions to run your tummy, some ask questions, they know that they are not going to change, they just want to whine you, as my children would say, they are whining you. They want to whine you. But people that are genuinely asking questions, we welcome everyone. I welcome you. Please share to your friends, share with your friends. Let them know that a word is coming today that will give them a little bit of light in the part or area of their lives they're working in darkness. Now listen to me. Don't allow yourself to live your life as an ignoramus. Knowledge is everywhere. The beauty of this end time is the knowledge of God is going to come in such a way as water covers the sea. So we are not expected to walk in darkness. Jesus said, I'm the light of the world. He that walks with me will not walk in darkness. The Bible says if your eyes be single, your eyes will be full of light. Light is what we need to walk in this world, on this earth. To live on this side of eternity, you need light. You cannot afford to gross in darkness. I'm repeating that intentionally. I've seen a lot of people that does not even know what to do, and at the end of the day, they enter trouble. Somebody said he does not believe in the law of gravity. You now went to 25-story building, peep through the window and tell your friend, my friend, scientists are liars. They don't know what they are saying. What does it mean? It doesn't matter. For when you jump down, nothing happens. Because he does not believe in the law of gravity. Now jump through the window. 25-story building. You are not the one that will tell us there's a law of gravity. The news will say there's one ignoramus. There's someone that does not know what to do, that does not believe in the law of gravity. But at the end of the day, it has become Humpty Dumpty that cannot be put together again. So I'm encouraging everyone at the sound of my voice to listen to these questions as I'm going to be answering them. And if you have any question in the course of this discussion, you are free to write it down. I'll pin it down, then I would talk about it, answer some of these questions. The first one I want to answer is the one that someone sent to me. Let me read it to you. Ma'am, I'm a lady of 23 years and I have a guy who happens to call himself a man of God, precisely a prophet. Okay, let me start in bits and pieces. Can I say this to everyone at the sound of my voice today? if you are single, you are not married, whether you're a male or a female, don't allow anybody to use spirituality to hoover you into trouble. One of the nature of a narcissist, a sociopath, a psychopath, is a type of personality disorder. They hoover you to love you. Some will come as a spiritual person. Some will come as, I love you, you are beautiful, you are the best thing that has ever happened to me. My parents have been asking me to marry, you are the only one I want to marry. They will make sure that they choke you with something. Watch out for them. Now, let me digress a little bit. This generation, they have issues. There's a problem on earth. And that problem is parenting. I'm talking about being set-wise as parents on Thursday. And there's another one I'm bringing out now, maybe tomorrow. Maybe I'll start tomorrow. Is it toxic or not? We need to know if a relationship is toxic, if you are also toxic yourself. Now, let me tell you something. Somebody just sent me a DM that he needed therapy. And if you go to my bio, you will see that you have to follow a routine, because we have a lot of people queuing for therapy. And the next thing he said, when somebody desperately call you, text you, and you did not answer, he started talking to me. I just said, okay. I didn't even get angry. I'm not angry. But that tells you how shallow we are in this generation. How we are not trained, nurtured, and well parented. Because if the person you DM me on my Instagram, you say you are having issues, even if you are older than me, you will still know that I'm not joking, I'm not playing, I'm busy. And moreover, the link you look, if you check it said one-on-one with funkeadetuberu. Please wait for your time. So 24 hours. That's the way we are wired, human beings. But what I'm saying is, you have the privilege to learn now, to take advantage of information, to know better, to live better, to be outstanding, to be standing out. Don't ever allow, I'm back on my question. I'm a lady of 23 years old, and I have a guy who happened to call himself a man of God, precisely a prophet. Now listen, hear me. Don't allow any man to hoover you to relationship that will cage you for the rest of your life. Hoovering, bombing you with love. Use spirituality. They can use their, I'm a doctor, I'm a lawyer, I earn $1 million per month, per year, blah, blah, blah. Please use your head. Follow your instincts. When you meet guys like that, they don't let you breathe. They choke you. They don't even give room for you to rationalize for what they are saying. They don't allow you to think it through. That is why I'm saying it in therapy. That was why I went to that case of the person that was angry because I had to wait for 24 hours to answer him by the reason of what I have on the table that I can't even finish. After each episode on my programs, I have a lot of people keen for therapy. Please be patient with me, one. Number two, if you are getting married to any man, if you are single, you are hearing me, do personality assessment tests. Be sure you are compatible. Compatibility is important. Personality assessment is important. Some are insane, actually, but they are wearing clothes. Some are mentally ill. Personality disorder is a mental sickness. Some are addicts. If you are privileged to do premarital counseling, listen to me. I've said it before. Let me say it again and again and again. You can pick one of your clothes in the house for your wedding, dry clean it properly. Get your suit, one of your best suits, dry clean it properly, and use it for wedding. Invest in your relationship. Pay for counseling, premarital counseling. I do 12 sessions, 12 courses, 5 sessions. We will go to the deep, we'll go to the depth of your life and be sure you are compatible, you can marry. We'll trace the root of your pain. A lot of people are sitting, listening to me now. They are living in pain. How can you be bringing out offensive odor or pus when there is a wound and you think you will now become somebody? It's not possible. You cannot give what you don't have. I've told people, if you are going to give me a cloth, I will look at the one you are wearing. I'll change my slogan. I will check your wardrobe. If you did not borrow that clothes to party, people borrow clothes to party. You can't give what you don't have. Now, this lady, a 23-year-old girl, now a man of God in quotes. You know how many men of God that have issues? Let's see how it goes. He's a prophet precisely. So we started dating like 4 months now. He's always complaining. You are not romantic. Excuse me. He's complaining. You are not romantic. In courtship. Please, what romance are you looking for in courtship? Hear me, young ladies. And hear my heart. Sex is for the wedding night. Please, somebody should help me to write it down. True love waits for the wedding night. If you genuinely love a woman, I'm still going to talk about that. I just dropped it in my heart now. I'll go back to that. If you really love a girl, you wait for the wedding night to tear your rubber, to unveil the veil, to disvirgin her. That is the beauty of wedding. Let me say this. If you allow a man to sin with you during courtship, he will sin against you one day. If you allow him to sleep with you now because of passion, thank you. True love waits for the wedding night. Thank you. Help me to write it. If you allow a man to have sex with you now because he's desperate, he wants to release, he's tensed up, and you compromise your stand, hear my heart. At the end of the day, he will sin with you, sleep with your mother, sleep with your father, sleep if he's a lesbian or homosexual, sleep with your sister, sleep with everybody around your life. That is where the problem is. If he genuinely loves you, he will wait for the wedding night. Now, how far must you go? You go as far as you know you can go. Let me be honest with you. Some say it doesn't matter. We can kiss, we can caress, we can do everything. Excuse me. If a man is on, you know what I'm saying here. To calm down is so difficult for him. And if you are the one that is extremely emotional, how far can you stop if you start having kisses in your relationship? You started with kissing, it's going to end with sex. That's the gospel truth. Now, the reason why this girl was a little bit aghast probably was because he's supposed to be a man of God. Let me tell you something. We are sexual beings. He's a man of God, but he's a man before he became a man of God. Now, this man, because I need to answer this question very clearly, this man has sexual problem. Now, don't get me wrong. Every man is wired sexually. But this guy is an addict. If you are dating a girl for 4 months, and the next thing is you are not romantic, I want to have sex with you, sex, he's always complaining that he's stranded, he wants to have sex with me. Sometimes he's even commanded that I should not be going to program. Hey, red flag. This is toxic. When you see a man, you are married, you are getting into a relationship with a guy, and everything is all around him. He complains, he's always telling you are not good for anything, you are this, you are that. Just know that. Pause and think. Selah, pause and hold on. Discuss with people that are matured, that can help you to analyze him. This one is living a book, and that book is clear. He has a problem. Now let me go to the foundation here and hear me. If you are going to get married to any man or any woman, please check their background. Trace it. Ask them, your mom and your dad, are they together? Did they separate? What was the cause of separation? Is it death? Is it infidelity? Is it anger? Now, if you are dysfunctional as a person, you are naturally going to be attracted to a man or a woman that is dysfunctional if you don't know how to handle this. I'm saying some things today, and I want you to note it. There are so many things. 14 invincible people are going to marry. 14 people you don't see. 14. One of them is where you are coming from. Your background, your parents, your upbringing. And that upbringing, that background is multidimensional. number one, it could be that when you were growing up, you were sexually assaulted or molested. Now, this guy, I'm not blaming him that he has a problem. There's no blame game. In this profession, we don't blame people. We trace it, we face it, we raise it, we start replacing it. Now, if it was damaged growing up, getting married to, being damaged sexually growing up, before you know it, the moment he's getting married to someone, there's a possibility of getting attracted to a man or a woman, or to a woman that is also dysfunctional. And that's why premarital counseling cannot be overflowed. I'm not talking about the kind of counseling, greet each other, kneel down, cook food, make table. No, I'm talking about digging to the roots, to the foundation, to the core of your life before meeting that guy. What I do, the first session of premarital counseling, I asked you, tell me about yourself, your parents, your upbringing, your first sexual exposure, the abuse, verbal, emotional, physical, sexual. I said sexual. I ask questions, I probe into your life. Now, if you are from a, I don't want to go spiritual, I go to scriptures, but if you are from a dysfunctional home, you are naturally going to be attracted to a man or a woman that is dysfunctional. Now, somebody has asked me questions. I said it in one of the episodes. Okay, so who is not dysfunctional? I don't have problems with dysfunctionality. I have problems with people that are dysfunctional and they are not aware of their dysfunctionality. So they are not intentional. They are not deliberate. They are not working on their problems. If you know where you are coming from, you know how to handle it. Some of you that came from polygamous home, you are keeping your home because you know that the monster, the demon of your parents is not going to attack you. It's not going to show up. But if you don't know, you'll be working in the area of that particular problem that you inherited from your parents. So what I'm saying is, if you are from a dysfunctional home, let me travel a little bit to the scriptures. I believe I have multiple, mixed audience, but please permit me to go a little bit spiritual. Abraham came from a dysfunctional home, married dysfunctionally. How do I mean? I will explain. Abraham is from a polygamous home. Polygamy is close to idolatry. So definitely, for the fact that they were idol worshippers in the family system of Abraham, it means that adultery is close. Now, got married to a beautiful lady. They came together from different backgrounds. Now, as soon as they got married, they were looking for the fruit of the womb. And something just showed up. Sarah just told her husband, honey, can't you sleep with this girl? Now, Abraham that God has been promising from Genesis 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, that don't worry, I'm going to make you a father of nations. You're going to be great. What is he looking for? One proposal, one temptation. That thing has been somewhere. It's in the pattern of the bloodline. Before he knew it, he consented, pregnated a guy. You know the story till tomorrow. Isaac started fighting at home with Ishmael and the mom. Now, it could be trauma that puts you into that problem. That's why I said mental, emotional, psychological abuse. Now, what I do is I go to the roots, to the foundation of where you are coming from. It will help me to help you. So when I'm doing my analysis, my prognosis, my diagnosis, I'll be able to understand that, okay, this person, this is why she's doing this. This is why he's doing this. Let me give you a practical example. I'm still answering the question of, I'm 25, I'm 23 years old. I have a guy who happened to be a prophet, a man of God precisely. We dated for 4 months. Now she's always complaining. He's always complaining. I need sex. You are not romantic. I discover he's always talking about sex. And I'm giving you the roots. Because I'm talking to the younger ones. My body, listen, some of you adults, you have become a fish that cannot be bent. If I try to bend you, I'll break you. Let me focus now, today, on this question by helping people that are young in age, trying to get into relationship. Listen to me. A broken courtship, a broken relationship is better than a broken destiny. Marriage is for destiny, it's for life. Your life partner is your life partner, life for life. So you cannot, if you make that mistake now, you are going to regret it to the end of your age. Your children, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren, they are your children. And it's your marriage relationship that will bring the best out of your children. Your husband is the father of your children and the grandfather of your children and the great-grandfather of your children. Your wife is the mother of your children, the grandmother of your children, the great-grandmother of your children. And when things like this are not properly handled, it becomes a generational issue. But there's a way you can stop it. So don't say, you know what, I don't mind. My parents, well, I came from a dysfunctional home, so I'm not going to marry. I'm not saying you should not marry. You're going to be married, but you're going to be intentional. You're going to be deliberate. I was talking about Isaac. Isaac came from a dysfunctional home through parental conflict. We react to fights differently. Some of us, when there's a conflict, you can shrug it and just one of those things. Some will sit down, think about it, analyze it until they are paralyzed. And it sits so deep in their feelings that it affects everything. I will show you Isaac. Isaac is a personality in the Bible, and I will teach you and I will show you another practical example in our contemporary life that is not even scriptural. But let's go to the scriptures. As soon as Isaac was going to get married, the father of Isaac said, no, you cannot you cannot marry my son here. Go to a far country and get a wife for my son. I'm talking about when you are dysfunctional, you can be attracted to another woman, another man that is dysfunctional. And that's why you have to be extremely careful when it comes to choices of relationship. Now, I'm not saying there's nothing you can do. You will fall in love. I've seen children that say, I will never marry again. If this is what mommy and daddy did to themselves, I don't want to marry again. It's a lie. You still marry. We are wired to love and want to be loved. But you have to be deliberate, be intentional in dealing with some of these little foxes that destroys the vine. They are foxes. They are subtle. You just find out that me and my wife, there are issues. And infidelity is coming in, adultery, idolatry, anger, rage, bitterness. Let's go to Isaac, because if we understand the scriptures, then we can address other things. And guess what? Abraham makes sure that he chose one of his choicest protocol PA ally in his life to go and look for a wife for his son. He said, my dear, let's do a covenant. Let's make an oath. Agree with me. Let's enter a covenant that you're just going to pick just any girl. Hey, and guess what happened? Very simple. The servant of Abraham went on a journey. He went on, he prayed, he was interceding, he was praying. Listen to me. For the fact that you prayed and you are sure your husband is your husband, your wife is your wife, does not make it functional. I will show you simple scriptures today. This is for Christians. I apologize. I'm not apologizing. That's what I stand for. Because I just know that I have a lot of Muslims on this platform. But please just follow me and follow the story. Now, as soon as Abraham's servant got to a well in Genesis 24, his camels were tired, everybody was tired. He was also tired. He was just praying, God of my father, please help me. Answer my prayers. Any lady that I ask, I don't know, maybe he was praying in the spirit or in understanding. There's no speaking in tongues that time. He must have engulfed himself in prayers for God to just lead him aright, because he was praying. And he met this girl. Genesis 24, beautiful girl, virgin. Hey, for the fact that you marry as a virgin does not make you functional. Please hear this. I'll give you practical examples here. I've handled thousands of cases that is similar to this. Beautiful girl, resourceful, dynamic, intelligent, proactive, solid. The servant of Abraham said, can I have a drink? She said, sir, go and read Good News Version. She said, sir, I'll feed you and feed your camels. I'll feed you and feed your camels. She fed 13 camels. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 camels on her shoulders. Solid girl. And she was still a virgin. And the servant of Abraham was saying, wow, is this how God answers prayers? Is it how answers comes? And he kept quiet until she finished feeding the 13 camels with water. The next question is, whose daughter are you? She said, my family is here. I'm a daughter of this and that. Give us the story. Because I'm limited to time. Is 1 hour I'm spending. They went home. Now, the question is, this girl was asked by the family, do you want to go now? She said, I'm going now. What will make a young girl who has kept her virginity, dynamic, intelligent, resourceful, responsible on her shoulders, to say, I want to be married now? Let me digress here. If I don't finish it today, I'll finish it next week. Why was she running? Where is she rushing to? A lot of people got married, left their parents early because their parents, the marriage of their parents are not working. They are from a dysfunctional home, so they want to rush out. And please, young lady, don't rush out of marriage. If you rush in, you rush out. Deal with the baggages. Deal with what is dealing with you. Deal with the core of your pain. Now, that is not even a worry to me. It's a little bit of a worry, but not too much of a worry. Until when Rebecca was going to get married, and his father was not dead, he was alive. It was her uncle that gave her out in marriage. Now, I have taught us some things, but let me quickly digress here again, because I believe we're going to have a synergy shortly. There are 4 types of wrong fathers. We have a shadow dad. We have a missing in action dad. We have a boundary buster dad. And we have a traditional dad. We have a critical dad. Pick all of them together. Now, when you are not dead as a man, as a father of a daughter, you're going to give your daughter away in marriage, you now told somebody else to do it. Have you handed over the driver's seat of your life to your brother? That was a wound on Rebecca's life. Meaning that Isaac was from a dysfunctional home. Rebecca too was from a dysfunctional home. There's an attraction there. And both of them were not aware. They were not intentional about it. I'm not saying that you should not marry who you want to get married to. But check the root. Trace it. Ask questions. Because it will pop up. I say that a lot. It will show up. You just discover that you are dancing to a music you don't know it's playing the rhythm. I'm answering questions. I'm going into another realm. But it's important. At least I believe that we're going to have a synergy of what I'm talking about. Now, don't forget, Isaac, they met, love at first sight, dropped from the earth, they were happy. But something was sitting inside of them. The conflict between Isaac, Ishmael, Hagar, her mom, her dad. Because when the problem was much, God said to Abraham, listen to your wife. You've messed up already. Listen to your wife. Now, those crises, those conflicts took a turn on the life of Isaac. It was a pain sitting somewhere, and it was not addressed. It was not just dealt with. Listen to me. Whatever is it you are bringing now. Oh, somebody said, but we are born again. Can I quickly digress in that? We are tripartite being. When you are born again, it's your spirit that is born again. Your soul and your body is not born again. Your soul is the seat of your pain. It's the seat of your trauma. It's also the seat of your education, your information. No wonder David said, it makes me to lie down and it restores my soul. That particular part of your life needs flushing. You need to garbage in and garbage out. You need to deal with it. If you don't deal with it, it will come out. It will pop up. It will show up. You know, our Android phones or some of this app. By the time you press one, you are trying to download one, others are popping up. That's how our baggages pops up. Unconsciously. They are not deliberate. Let's go back to Isaac and Rebecca. Wow. They got married. It was nice. Abraham was happy. Everybody was on point. Suddenly, they were looking for the fruit of the womb. As Abraham too waited. So, they went to seek the face of God. And God told them, there are 2 nations in your womb. But there is a problem in that relationship. Because Rebecca was from a dysfunctional home, a missing in action dad was her dad. And every of these children, I have the book, one of my books, Love Notes to Fathers, Missing in Action Dad. The missing in action dad makes their daughters are, number 1, they have low self-esteem. They have communication problem. Their sons are always struggling to show up. I'm the one, I'm the head, I'm the boss. They are sick emotionally. And when you are emotionally ill, X-ray does not see it. X-ray doesn't see emotional sickness. It is what you do, the way you act. the way you react, what you say, how you say it, your outbursts will show us this person is not okay. Have you seen men that throw serious temper tantrums? And you are wondering, what did we carry? What did we throw? That you are just reacting like this. It becomes a paradox. You are puzzled. What's going on? That person is sitting on an explosive bomb. Don't forget, 2 nations. God told them. He told the wife. They sought the law. He told the husband. So God told the wife, not the man now, that there are 2 nations. He told Isaac was the one that prayed, but when God was going to show up, he gave the revelation to his wife, Rebecca. There were 2 nations, fine, good to go. But because they have foundational problem, the baggages they were bringing from their parents. You know, so if this person is a prophet and is asking for sex, I'm talking about the root of it, the foundation of it. Now, they had 2 boys, 2 nations. But in that family, they have 2 parties. In Africa, if you are watching me from Nigeria, you have PDP 1, PDP 2. I don't know, different parties. 2 parties in a party. So in that house, you have 2 parties. One was daddy's favorite, one was mommy's favorite. And the covenant was looming over their heads. In the context of the New Testament, or in the context of the Old Testament, you will agree with me that Abraham was born again, Isaac was born again. So all of them, because they were carriers of the covenant, and there was something on the inside of it. If Abraham was not born again, God told him to leave his father and his idol worshiping, background to come to light. So he had an encounter. So I could say that he was born again in the context of the New Testament, in the context of the New Testament. Okay, somebody is saying Old Testament. Can I explain something to you in the New Testament? If you are born again, it's your spirit that is born again. Your soul and your body is not born again. Please note that. So don't spiritualize when you are struggling with your sexuality, you are struggling with anger, you are struggling with anything. Just know there is a problem that has to be dealt with. If you don't deal with it, it's going to deal with you. Somebody said New Testament. Yes. Do you know Corinthian Christians, they were actually sleeping with their father's wife? They were visiting prostitutes. There was a time Paul had to say, well, this one, hand him over to Satan so that his soul will be saved. All the believers in Corinthians, they have sexual struggle. So we have to be addressing them as Paul said some of these things should not be named among saints. But they were struggling because of the baggages, where they're coming from. I'm coming back to Isaac, Rebecca, and Isaac, Esau, and Jacob. At the end of the day, the 2 of them, they started hurting each other, malice in the family, favoritism. The mother will cook for one, he will not cook for the other. Where was it coming from? Where Rebecca was coming from? Where was it coming from? Where Isaac was coming from? When there are issues in your background and you don't deal with it, it's going to stare at you. It's going to face you headlong. What you don't deal with will still deal with you. So don't cover it up in the name of this guy. I'm not saying he's not a prophet, he's not a man of God. I'm not saying that. He must have met with God one way or the other. But the point is that he's coming with baggages. And ladies in the house, ladies and gentlemen, hear me. The moment you notice any form of dysfunctionality in your background, where you are coming from, please don't trivialize it. Don't casualize it. Make sure you are intentional and deliberate about it. I will tell you someone in the New Testament that was intentional about his baggages and his struggles. I will show you later. You know the story. One day, Isaac said, I need to bless my boys. And the mother overheard. There was no communication. There was no closeness in the family. He now went to his son. He said, come, Jacob, come. I overheard that your dad said he wants to bless you. Your brother, but it's you that I want him to bless. You know what you're going to do? Go and get me a venison. Let me cook for him. The boy was puzzled. Mommy. Say, shut up. Follow me. Why would Rebecca, a dynamic woman, sensitive, entered her prophetic destiny by getting married to a man of covenant? Why was she so bad? What happened? Her father was not a good father. Now the question is there any African father that is a good father? If you look out there, and you see cultism, you see different types of sexual activities that cannot be heard of, can you trace it to the root? If you can't trace it, you cannot face it. We have to start traveling inward, traveling inside to see the cause, the root of all of this, so that we will not be fighting as if we are boxing the air. We'll keep dissipating energy unnecessarily. We need to know where we're coming from. Jacob said, Mommy, no, don't let's be leave it. Let your cause be on me. Go and cook. Let me go and wear your brother's clothes. After the whole episode, Esau came back late. His father has blessed Isaac. Problem started again. Young pepper scatter. Esau said, don't worry, I'll kill Jacob. Mommy, you will bury 2 of your sons today, God forbid. The mother said quickly, yeah, let's go. Go to your uncle's house. Go. Let me go to uncle. He ran to his uncle's place. The baggages did not run. It was on and on to their children. It becomes genetic because somebody is carrying a bloodline that has issues. Listen to me today. If you are hearing me, hear my heart. The moment you are going through any form of struggle, I know I'm speaking to some people because this is not my plan. I wanted to be asking, the questions as it came, but I believe I prayed. And when you pray about something, you will just open your mouth, the Holy Spirit will feel it. If you are hearing me today, and you know that the background, that where you are coming from, your background is inflicting pain in your relationship, in your life, quickly seek help. Do therapy, do counseling. Open up to someone. A lady, I started therapy with a lady yesterday. I told her, tell me about yourself. That's one thing your doctor will do. We call it clacking in medicine. When you go to your doctor, they will ask you some unreasonable and reasonable questions. When I was going to have my child in the hospital, they were clacking me. They know I'm a Reverend Mrs. They were still asking me, do you smoke? I say, I don't smoke. They will ask you. It may look stupid, but they know what they are looking for. Does your parents smoke? Do you have diabetes in the family? Do you have arthritis in the family? Do you have blood pressure? They ask you questions because even in medicine, they know that there is something we call the pattern of the bloodline, not to talk of the scriptural line. And even God said, I'm a jealous God that has iniquity of the father from the first to the fourth generation. So definitely, there's no way, if we can trace it in the medical world, spiritual world itself is the same. But listen to me, you have to be intentional. You have to make a decision to do something with where you are coming from. That is the only way you can be free from struggle. Thank you for loving it. That's the only way you can be free from these baggages. Do you know, despite the fact that a young man came from a similar dysfunctional family, so there's no excuse. Don't tell me, that's the way I am, that's the way I'm wired. You are not wired that way. It was the baggages that was popping up. Deal with it. You can be free from sexual struggle. You can be free from masturbation. You can be free from pornography. You can be free from adultery. You can be free from anger. You can be free from anything that came to you through the pattern of your baggages or where you're coming from. Guess what? Very simple. Joseph came from a polygamous home. Coat of many colors. He would come out with his stepbrother's evil reports. But by the time he was able to deal with himself, work on himself, there was a time after he interpreted the dream of the baker and the butler for 2 solid years, he was processing his pain. Because listen, you can't fly with weight. You cannot become what you are wired to become. I've seen a lot of people with great assets, great potential. They have murdered it on the altar of sex, on the altar of adultery, on the altar of all sorts of things. Some are lesbians, homosexuals today. They are sexually perverted. It's not your fault. In this profession, we don't blame people, but you need help. Seek help. Get a professional to help you. Send me a DM. Help is available. Be intentional about it. Guess what Joseph did? Joseph said, okay. The day he was able to know that there's this anger sitting somewhere, It's not only sex that is addiction. Anger is a form of addiction. Lie is a form of addiction. Stealing is a form of addiction. It could be anything. What is addiction? This guy, this pastor, prophet, quote and unquote, he has a serious sexual problem. His brain has been hijacked by sex. Joseph realized that he has not dealt with some of these things. The day he interpreted the dream of the baker and the butler, he just said, hey, they didn't do anything. They lied against me, my brother, my sisters, and I had. God said, if I allow this boy to go to the throne with this pain, it's going to kill the purpose in which I'm sending him out. Listen to me. Until you deal with those things that are dealing with you, you are going to truncate the purpose of Calvary in your life. You're going to truncate the purpose of your salvation. Because listen to me. Anything that is dealing with you, emotionally especially. Now some will say, what about spirituality? I'm coming to that. Warfare, I'm coming to that. But you know, you have fasted, you have prayed, you have done deliverance, they have laid hands on you, laid legs on you, and yet you are still struggling. You need to see a counselor or a therapist. What they do is they help you they give you insight. One of the things we do in helping people is to let them see in the light of their struggle. And guess what? It's very simple. Very, very simple. Joseph, 2 years. God made sure that the baker and the butler, of course they have killed the baker. The butler did not remember him for 2 years. You think those 2 years he was playing? No. He must have been accountable. You know, because of space crisis, there are so many things that were not written in the scriptures. But by an act of meditation, you will know that he has dealt with some things. And I will show you what I meditated on about Joseph. He told himself, number one, I can't continue like this. Because the whole wound, let me explain something to you. You know, some of us will have wounds on our body that looks healed. That is when you will know you are not healed. But some will say, but I've forgotten, I've forgiven, I'm okay. You are not okay. Let me explain to you. There are some of us that will have wounds on our body that has patches, that is really maybe a deep wound. Now, sometimes it looks as if it's healed on the surface, but when you peel it, and you put your nails to it, and you really peel it, some will be bleeding, and fresh blood will be coming out of that wound. When they peel the place of your wound, and the wound opened up as if it happened yesterday, you are not healed. You hear the voice of the offender and you have pain. The same anger that came when those things happened came up again as if you have never talked about it. You need help. Get into counseling straight, or else you will not make progress. You will not go forward. Let me quick talk about Joseph, then quickly pick another story of someone that it happens to in real life. Then we'll close tonight, this evening. Now, when Joseph has spent 2 solid years to deal with his issues, by the time the butler called him to the palace, he was broken. When you have dealt with your issues, you'll be broken, one. Number 2, you will appreciate the fact that it is still the mercy of God that made you to survive the rape experience, the rejection, the abandonment, the trauma. You will appreciate the fact that you would have died in those things. Mercy brought you back. Then you would have looked into your life and see if it was a plan of God for your life. Jesus didn't have to die, but he died because that was the script. Joseph said, it was clearly written about Joseph. I need to read that place out. Clearly written about Joseph. A man was set ahead of them. A man was set ahead of them. It was a plan of God for Joseph to go through that route. And they put iron on his leg. Iron. I'm trying to look for it. Feathers of iron. I'm trying to look for it. Man Joseph. That was it. I think I'm looking for it. It should be the book of Psalms. If you understand, Joseph was able to ask questions and said, excuse me, is it part of my life to suffer like this, or am I doing it for someone? By the time it got to a place, I'll try and look for it. Okay, Psalm 105, I got it. Psalm 105, verse 17. He sent a man before them, even Joseph, who was sold for a servant, whose feet they hurt with feathers. He was laid in iron until the time that his word came. The word of the Lord tried him. The king sent for him, loosed him, even the ruler of the people, and let him go free. Can you imagine? For those 2 years he was dealing with himself, he was able to know that this trouble is too much. I said it to myself one day. I said, what is it? Am I the only one? Why am I going through all this? This is too much. And the Lord said to me, he didn't have to die. Joseph did not do anything to deserve this torture, this pain. What did he do? I had a dream. Yes. Is it a sin for me to have a dream? But God was the one that wrote the script of his life, and he was living that script. So when that script he was living, God was intentional about it. And he also started dealing with the trauma of rejection. They threw him to the pit, put him in Potiphar's house. Potiphar, there's so much he had to deal with. What we do in counseling and therapy is we help you to deal with your wounds, with your pain, with your trauma, with the things you are covering up, you are masking. You know we mask, Africans, all over, everybody masks actually. It's not only Africans that mask, everybody masks. With the mask, he had to unveil the veil, remove the mask, open it up. And guess what? By the time they sent for him and his brother came, he was crying like a baby. They didn't even recognize him. He was weeping. He saw them. He said, where's my brother? Where's everybody? Where's daddy? Where's, you know? But you know what I'm saying? I'm taking you somewhere because I need to close shortly. I'll still give you an example of a lady that her case is similar to this, so that you will know where I'm coming from. So when you hear stories like this, he called himself a pastor, he called himself a prophet, and he called himself a Christian, and he's having sexual struggle, he's behaving somehow. Just look for the roots. Check where the person is coming from. Let's stop picking things on the surface. We are living in a generation that is heavily superficial. We are not deep at all. We don't see beyond our nose. By the time the father of Joseph came to Egypt, finally, he now brought his 2 boys. I'm telling you that it's possible. You have to go and listen to this again and again and share it, please. Because I've said some things there today that is extremely deep. Share it with friends. Let them take time to listen to it. Somebody somewhere needs this information. Guess what? When he brought his 2 boys, Manasseh and Ephraim, and his daddy unconsciously was going to cross his hand and hand over the same pattern, Joseph said no. Now, this was a man that led his life in the Old Testament. So don't tell me, no wonder the Bible says the Old Testament saints are going to be judged by their conscience. They all had encounters with God. And they're going to be judged based on the level of their encounters with Jehovah. Guess what? He told his father, don't cross your hand. I am stopping this nonsense. I'm stopping the flow. We can't be losing children in the name of pass down, pass down, pass down. I don't know what has been passed down to you, but you have a choice to tell yourself, this marriage will work. Our children will not repeat a pattern. Me, I'm stopping it. Intentionally, deliberately. When anything is about to happen, you stop it immediately. You make a decision and say, You know what Joseph said? His father was a polygamist. So don't tell me the demon of my father will pop up. Yes, it will pop up. You are the one that will tell Mrs. Potiphar, excuse me, my erection will not destroy my direction. It was the erection of my father, Abraham, that destroyed his direction, that made us to have Ishmael. And Ishmael is now smelling and disturbing everybody. I am not going to allow my erection. This erection, you will stay. Don't tell me that Joseph was an Enoch or is impotent. If he was impotent, he won't give birth to Manasseh and Ephraim. Meaning that his sexuality was on point when he was with Mrs. Potiphar. So if you are calling yourself a man of God and a supposed prophet of God, and you are now asking for sex from every Dick, Dumb and Harry, something is wrong with your brain. You need help. Seek help. Quick. Quick. Don't die in silence. You need help. Because if he was not a man of God now, even if he's a man, whether you're on the pew, let me balance this. Whether you're on the pew or on the pulpit, if you are struggling with your sexuality, you are struggling with it. He does not know pulpit, he does not know pew. If you are born again and you know that you are still battling with your thoughts life, we know there's a dimension of sanctification, you are struggling with your sexual life, you are struggling with so many things, then you need to deal with it before it deals with you. That's important. Let me quickly give you an example. I'll close shortly. There was a lady that listened to my program on radio in Abeokuta. Her husband and herself, they do listen to my program. But the husband has been noticing some strange things with his wife. And he could not comprehend it. This man does contribution. She, the wife, does thrift and, credit contribution and all of that. So, it's the man that helped him to count the money, put everything together. He said, "Ma, I've not stolen one penny of my wife's money. The account is on point. Everything is perfect." He said, "But ma, my wife will not give me 1 naira, 1 pound, 1 penny, 1 shilling. No, she will not." She said, "Ma, if we are starving in the house and I'm supposed to be the one that will pay for that particular meal, my wife will not pay for it. And I'm the one that will count the money, put the money, take the money to the bank. I know my wife has this money, but she will not give me." She said the worst part of it is when their children are resuming and it's a little bit tough for him or hard for him financially. I say, "My dear, can I just borrow so amount from you to pay my sons, our sons or our daughter's school fees?" She will say, "No, I don't have." And she was so vehement about it that at the end of the day, she will not leave 1 penny. Never. That's her life. So the man called me and said, "Ma, can you please help me? I don't understand. I'm not a thief. I've not stolen my wife's money. She knows the account is always balanced. I don't do anything that really calls for this. Mommy, please help me. Save my marriage." So I said, "Okay, no problem. Can I have does your wife listen to my program?" He said yes. I said, "Oh, good one." So I called the wife. I said, "How are you, madam? How's everything? There's something that your husband is saying that you don't really help him financially." I said, No, mommy, no, I can't help. I cannot, never help. And these are believers, church elders. So when I heard her reaction, I knew there was something sitting somewhere. I told you, if you are sick emotionally, X-ray does not see it. X-ray does not see emotional wounds. It is when you are acting, that's when we know that something is wrong with you. So I just told her, I said, "Can you give me about an hour for us to do sessions, 1 or 2 sessions for therapy and all of that?" She now said, "Fine, ma." She said, "Okay." So I didn't mention the issue of giving her husband money again. I did, because when you mention that, it's like you just opened a bomb that will blast everywhere. I mean, she's so sensitive about it that she does not want to talk about. That is her button. When you press it, she erupts like a volcano. So I didn't mention. I said, "Madam, it's nice talking to you, blah blah blah. How's everything, business?" She said, "Mommy, I'm doing fine. I'm doing very well." I said, "Can you tell me about yourself? I need to know you." So she started talking. She told me how she came from a home. Their daddy was a little bit laid back. The mother was dynamic. The mother is very resourceful. She does everything. Said, "Mommy, my mother is hardworking. As she died of blood pressure, and it pained me because she was not resting." She started crying. I said, "Oh, sorry. So you are still grieving your mom?" I said, "That mama, she's my mom. She's a mother." She began to talk. She was saying so many things about her mom. I said, "Mommy, that my mother taught me to make money. When I was in 100 level, I started making thousands. I'm talking about 20 years ago. I was almost building my 2nd house before I left university. I have a strong mother. Wonderful mama. She taught us to be great." She was just eulogizing her mother. I was happy hearing that. I said, "What other things do you want to tell me? What about your dad?" She just eased. She said, "Daddy." She said, Ma, I don't want to talk about my dad. I said, why? She said, don't let me talk about it. I will spend another 1 hour. I said, I'm all ears. That's why we're doing therapy. One of the things your doctor, your therapist will do is to listen to you. If you want to talk for 2 hours, go ahead and let's talk. That's what you paid for. So she told me so many things. She said, Ma, when I was in 200 level, she wanted to talk about her dad. She said she came home to see her mom. And she met, her mom was a workaholic. You've heard that before. She came home and she said, I saw my mom. My mom wept for 2 hours. I thought my daddy died. I didn't know what happened. I was everywhere. I was crying. I was wondering, Mommy, what is it? What is the problem? What really happened? Please, Mommy, talk to me, Mommy. She said her mother did not say a word until after 2 hours of, you know, when you cry for 2 hours, you know what that means. She wept for 2 solid hours. She now opened her Bible under her pillow and brought a picture out. And guess whose picture is that? Her father naming a child. And the child looks exactly like her. She said, when I saw that, something died in me. And I made up my mind that I would never allow any man to treat me the way my father treated my mom. She said, Ma, my mother does everything. Paid the bills, sent us to school, bought the house, bought properties, and she would see my husband and my children. She said my mother is a gold. she anything she touches turns to gold. She's a gold mine. That's exactly what she used. That my mother would turn anything to money, and she would still worship my father and give it to my father. Mama, honestly speaking, I cannot allow, I would never allow any man, I would rather divorce that man to touch my penny. And she started crying. She cried for another 1 hour. Which, I'm not exaggerating, I don't have to impress you and get depressed after talking. It was therapy sessions. That's why we do sessions for people who wants to recover from their wounds, emotional wounds. She said, Ma, I wept like a baby that day. And anytime I still remember, see me crying out as if it was yesterday. Because I would have still had my mom today taking care of me and my children, because that woman has labored. She actually, there's a word she used. It was in my language. Let me try and say it. Maybe I will interpret it. When mama mi, tebala yewa lojo belong. That is, my mother prepared her swallow here, and the stew, she ate it in heaven. She died. I think that woman could not handle the pain of betrayal. Let me say this to men in the house, if you are hearing me. Infidelity to a woman is painful than rape. Infidelity to a woman is painful than the death of a child. Infidelity to a woman is painful than, the pain is not explainable. Especially if that woman uses her life to worship you and take care of you and your children. You can't explain the pain. Some end up in a mental home. Some, they end up having cancer. And you know, when people now use religion to cover it, like the question, you know, I'm asking the question here, use religion to cover it, nobody will know what killed that woman. They won't even know. One woman said, when I was 15 years old, I was gang raped. That when my husband committed adultery, the pain was worse than that of the rape experience I had. She told me, she said, Ma, I can't, he said, Mommy, I won't lie to you, my husband is wonderful, he's straightforward, he's loyal, everything. He said, but that was how my father was before he had money. So let my husband go and make his money. I don't want to be involved. Wow. I told her, I said, don't worry, I appreciate the fact that you can open up to me. Can I allow you to rest? We'll talk later. But at the time when she was talking to me, there's nothing I can say. The wound is deep. The pain is excruciating. Deep wound was sitting somewhere. A lot of people answer, they dance to a music, they don't know it's playing the rhythm. They are reacting, they are dancing, they are acting, they are being nice. They are giving to reply the voice of their pain. If you are like that, you can't fly with weight. If you have 10 bags of cement on your head now, you can't fly. You can't even walk well. You can't even move. They have to help you to put it on your head. You can't take a step with a bag of cement. Not talk of tons of wounds, tons of cement. Your soul needs to be restored. It will hinder you. It will truncate your flight in life. If this person, of course, this girl cannot marry the man. It's not possible. Or if this person does not deal with what is dealing with him, he's not going to have a home. He can be a donor. Pregnate a woman out of those women that he's lying to pregnate them. But what about old age? I saw something recently in the news. It's all over the news. And I'm going to close with this. There is nothing like tomorrow. Everybody's tomorrow starts today. Please, if you have to address some issues in your life, address it before it is too late. There was this man that died. He had his phone on his hand and he was on his bed and he was dead for 4 years. No wife, no children. It's a case note for another day. He's on the news. He's still in the news. 4 years he was dead in his house, alone. There's something future is telling you. The way you are living your life now, what will happen? 10 years, ask yourself, the way what you are doing now, the adultery, all sorts, what is going to happen? A lot of people, they want to enjoy now. Like Esau, I'm hungry now, give me food, give me pepper, give me porridge. Please, if you are listening to me, you are young. Do everything to delay gratification, because it's a matter of time. Wow, it's been a little bit tough this evening, and I don't know why I went that route, but I believe somebody is taking something or was taking something in. But please do everything to lay your bed well. As you lay your bed, you will lie on it. There's nothing like tomorrow. Everybody's tomorrow starts today. There are things you do that a child will not be with you in your old age. I'm trusting that we'll be able to do more. There's so much to talk about. Please, any sin you handle with levity, we handle you with gravity. Let's deal with some of these things. Ask yourself, how old is this character? You know your weakness. If you are sick emotionally, you know. You don't need it. Some don't even know. But there are some things you know. There are some things you will know. There are some things, it's a serious personality disorder. Now, listen, I'm going to be talking about toxic. I've done the flyers. I'm going to know, is it toxic? Is a question. You know whether you are toxic yourself, if that relationship is toxic. Well, I'm going to call it quit tonight. I think I've done a little bit of justice. It's over 1 hour already. I want to appreciate everyone for listening to me this evening. It's been time that I think the time we spent together worth it. Share with people, tell people to listen, to think. They can listen to it more than 1 or 2 times. I appreciate you. I'll see you again next week when we are answering our questions. Please feel free to send me a DM to ask me questions. I can make it anonymous. The person that asked this question, I didn't mention the name. There's a case I'm going to handle. Well, let's see how it goes. I have a lot of it on my table, so when we will pick it one after the other. It was only one I answered today and I didn't even finish it. But I think I blessed somebody. I appreciate you. Once again, thank you so much for listening to me.